I'm going to play a very brief snippet. And the reason it's a brief snippet is because this was the brief snippet that a global news reporter shared online. And it is a brief snippet that takes a lot of liberties, as does the accompanying tweet. Why don't you take a look?
Yeah, but you guys raised an enormous amount of money outside of that, right? You were raising thousands of dollars a day in cash and e-transfers, correct?
Yeah, the e-transfers would have went into Mrs. Litch's personal bank account.
And cash?
I don't know what happened with the cash. There was always people donating cash. It was all around, I guess.
So that is a bit of an interesting clip. Now, just for context, that was lawyer Paul Champ, who is representing the Coalition of Ottawa Residents and Businesses. And Paul Champ is asking about the money, which was not an aspect of the convoy that Chris Barber was really doing all that much about. And what David Baxter of Global writes is, after the Freedom Convoy's GoFundMe got shut down, Chris Barber testifies e-transfers went to Tamara Leach's personal bank account, and he doesn't know what happened with all the cash. And you're like, oh, wow, that sounds like Tamara Leach was making away with millions. And then Rachel Gilmore, also of Global News, tweets the following. When Chris Barber is asked about the money the convoy raised, quote, the e-transfers would have went into Ms. Leach's personal bank account. As for the cash, he said, I don't know what happened with the cash. I left out two words from her tweet there, which are at the very top, when she says, oh, wow. Treating this as explosive, treating it as a bombshell. Like, Chris Barber has just admitted that Tamara Leach was putting all the money in her personal bank account, and then they don't know what happened with the cash. The reality is that clip, which I think was 22 seconds long, condensed what was a minutes long exchange that covered a range of these issues. And it took it in a way that deliberately misrepresented the actual discussions. Now, the reason Chris Barber doesn't know what happened with all of the cash, and specifically that's referring to cash donations that were given after all the account freezes, after the GoFundMe was shut down, after the court order prohibiting people from donating to Give, Send, Go, and people were giving truckers cash. Chris Barber said, yeah, I wasn't involved in that, so I really don't know what happened. I know people were giving out envelopes to truckers, but I wasn't overseeing it. So when he's saying I don't know what happened to all the cash, he means that he literally was not involved in that part of the operation. And the money going into Tamara Leach's personal account, this is like as old news as it gets, because nothing has been relitigated and discussed more about the convoy than the money. What happened here was GoFundMe initially released $1 million of the funds that have been donated. They didn't have a corporation set up at this early stage, so the GoFundMe needed to give it to someone. So Tamara Leach was the one who set up the account. They had a plan in place to distribute the money. So GoFundMe transferred $1 million into a personal bank account in Tamara Leach's name, which was only used for convoy funds. It wasn't the account that she used to buy her groceries or to go and buy a canoe from Canadian Tire. I don't know if Tamara Leach has ever bought a canoe from Canadian Tire. That was just the weirdest incident I could come up with as far as like a possible personal purchase. So I've been in Ottawa too long. I'm starting to be weird.